Now say something excited like you're about to talk about Mean Girls.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about Mean Girls.
All right, well,
And the volume goes down.
in that case, get in, losers. We're going podcasting.
Yay!
I like to call out when I steal gimmicks from other podcasts, but Blank Check's never going to cover Mark Waters as a director, so I'm pretty confident that won't be stepping on any toes. Anyway, as you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast yet, so it'll either be, again, ripping off a different show, or something along the lines of, welcome to Late to the Movies. My name is Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have by now. My guest this week, left to right across your podcast aisle, we got Kay,
Hey.
Sam, and Bree.
Hello.
And the movie this week is Mean Girls 2. And I guess we can address this up top. Everyone here has seen Mean Girls.
Yes. Yes.
Many times, probably.
Yes.
And so I thought the thing to do, because it's back to school month, we're doing all month long movies about schools, and this is the biggest one for people of our generation, I would say, by kind of a substantial margin. So we had to do it. But everyone I know has seen Mean Girls. So I thought the loophole was that this is technically an episode about Mean Girls 2, a movie I had never seen or did not know existed before. But of course, we'll have to talk about the first Mean Girls before we get to Mean Girls
It would be
2.
ludicrous not to.
And I feel like that may just make up the bulk of the episode. Before we get to that, though, I always like to start by asking you all if you've seen anything worth mentioning recently. Anyone can jump in.
Yesterday, Ben and I went and saw See How They Run, which is the new Saoirse Ronan, Sam Rockwell kind of like whodunit movie.
Ooh.
It was
Kombucha
fine.
face.
It was fine. Yeah, it was one of those ones that it was like I left it and I was like, I mean, it was good, I guess. Maybe? I don't know.
Would
Can't
you
tell
recommend
you.
That's not what you want from a whodunit.
I know, because it was mainly like it felt like the structure was all over the place. They didn't really
Yes.
set it up right, and the whole thing was like an homage to Agatha Christie with like a lot of like Agatha Christie's actually in it at one point, but I left it going, I can't tell if they love or hate Agatha Christie
They have
by the way that they treat this.
the Agatha Christie character is played by the same actor who plays Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter, and she's doing that voice.
Yeah, which is not her voice. I've heard her talk other ways.
So she's in an episode of early Doctor Who, like
Yes.
Eccleston early,
Yeah.
not like
That's
60s
what
early.
I was
Well,
like,
I mean, she's
knew her
British.
from
You get
that.
drafted into that show
Yeah,
eventually.
you gotta do it. You gotta do your tour of
Yeah,
2
yeah.
episodes
Yeah.
of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But I feel like she had that voice in that episode too, so I think I've just decided that that's her real voice, and I was literally about to say I think that's just her real voice.
Or maybe like I guess
Maybe
I've
it
seen her
is.
speak in a different voice, which I assumed was her
So
natural
you at least
voice.
know that she has the ability to speak in a different.
Yeah.
Because then
but,
I
but
was
not
like-
only that, but you know Agatha Christie doesn't
Doesn't
sound
speak
like
like
that.
She's
'cause she
not
was
old enough that you can
alive,
just
like,
be like,
60
we're
years
gonna do
ago.
whatever we want. No, we have video of Agatha Christie speaking.
Yeah,
We
she
know
was,
that's
like,
not her.
alive in the last 70 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just sort of you said like it's an homage to Agatha Christie stuff that you can't tell if it actually hates Agatha Christie. But it's also a deconstruction of whodunits, and it is constantly calling out the things that whodunits do and then doing that thing.
Which would be great if Knives Out didn't exist 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I was really hoping for like Knives Out-esque sort of like a fun romp through like a whodunit, and it was not that.
They were probably trying to not do that and
Yeah.
failed because they were
Like
trying
they-
to avoid
just
doing
saying
that.
I kept having these moments of like, this feels like something that like someone would have written
Yeah.
in like grad school and been like, I'm the cleverest. And it's like, okay.
And it's weird because it's set in 1950s London, and it stars Sam Rockwell as the inspector. And you're like, oh, what's Sam Rockwell's take on this? And his take on this is Gary Oldman.
Yep.
He's just playing Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
He has a Gary Oldman mustache.
Yeah. I literally
He's
had a
talking
flash.
like Gary Oldman. It's
I
really
literally
weird.
had a flash when he came on screen of like, oh shit, I didn't know Gary Oldman was in this. And then it was like, no, that's Sam Rockwell.
Pretty weird.
So like,
And Saoirse Ronan's like the comic relief in it, and
weird.
yeah,
So basically what happened was they wrote this like 10 years ago. They wanted Gary Oldman to be the main guy. Gary Oldman kind of aged out. They didn't know what to do. So like, what if we get that American dude that kind of looks like a young Gary Oldman? And then And let's hope that a movie doesn't come out that also deconstructs who done. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Let's make it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's-
Adrian Brody was good.
Ugh.
Maybe.
It promise. Adrian Brody is doing a protect my neck style commitment to an accent.
Yeah.
It's
which,
one
he,
is-
which he loves doing.
Yes, you can tell he's having the best time, and other people don't. If other people were having that much fun, because he narrates the opening, and it opens when you're like, and he's like, "The mousetrap is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen."
So I thought that was the
And
way we
you're
were
like,
going. And I was
oh.
like, okay,
And I
cool.
was like,
I'm
is
in.
that Adrian
and it was
Brody?
not.
Anyway, it's one of those experiences that, like, anytime I see someone criticize a movie I like online, I'm like, this person just sucks. Like, I'm sorry for them that they don't like it. And just to present both sides of the argument, I went on Letterboxd, and it's actually got like a lot of good reviews on Letterboxd, and people going like, "Wow, I loved this. The ending was such a cool twist, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh, this is how it feels on the other side." It's like I did not work for me at all, but hey, it's worked for a lot of people. So don't let us dissuade you.
I might watch it. I love whodunits. So even like the word, even
And
like,
do you hate Agatha Christie? Though?
Yeah.
'Cause that might help.
do they all just take turns coming in and stabbing Agatha Christie at the
No,
end?
it's like Adrian Brody's voiceover opens and closes the movie and takes shots at Agatha Christie and the Mousetrap, and it's like,
The movie.
but he's also playing a guy that everyone in the movie hates. So like,
yeah.
are we supposed to be like, yeah, this asshole?
So it's
He
not-
would think that.
So it's like Knives Out, but like Chris Evans is narrating it instead of like.
I don't know. It's not. It doesn't line up that well 1-to-1 because Knives Out also an interesting deconstruction, but that still works as a whodunit.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
It is
Whereas
just-
this one, like, it doesn't really care about the whodunit aspect of it. Is the problem I have.
Yeah, which is where Knives Out cares about it so much that it, like, I don't want to spoil Knives Out for anyone who hasn't seen it, but like, they tell you what happens basically immediately.
Yes.
And then they're like, but you're missing the context. So it's like, here's the still frame of what happened, and now we're gonna bring it back, which is the opposite of what a whodunit does. Usually they have the big frame and then they zero, you get closer and closer through clues and reveals. So I loved Knives Out.
Knives Out is
Yeah.
great.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
I'm looking forward to the sequel that I now know about because of this podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
Glass Onion.
Yep. Which
Getting really good reviews in its festival premieres, and
Nice.
it's coming out, I think, December.
Nice.
Ryan Johnson swings for the fences every time. He's a 3 True Outcome movie director.
Apparently, it's really exactly. And man, he's got Big Dave in this one, so I'm excited for that.
Big Dave.
I do love Big Dave.
Yeah, have you guys watched anything?
No, I wish I'd seen
Okay,
some
that's fine.
Big Dave stuff. I watched
Yeah.
Guardians again.
There you go. We only it's only been a couple weeks since we potted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything besides
Well,
like Letterkenny.
The stuff we've talked
that,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a movie besides
More Harley.
the ones we've podcasted about since.
Well, I've recorded I think only once. Yeah, I recorded one time since, and I didn't mention that I went to the roadshow showing of Clerks 3. It's Clerks 3.
Yeah. Is it better than Clerks 2?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't even see Clerks 2 because so many people told me Clerks 2 was bad. And then years later, I have friends who, like, I don't know if I trust their movie opinions, that were like, no, it's funny. And I was like, I feel like the time to watch Clerks 2 has passed by.
It's strange because, I mean, yeah, we don't have to get into the whole thing on Kevin Smith, but he's a guy who, like, is clearly an enthusiast of stuff, and, like, it's good to have positive thoughts, and that's, like, that's a good thing. He's not...
And he's had some really, really good movies. He's had some I haven't cared for as much, but there are some really good movies. That,
Yeah. um,
Yeah.
I mean, Clerks 1 is still like really good.
Yes.
And yes, there's like
And holds
problematic
up.
stuff in it, sure, but it's by characters who suck, and at the end of the day,
And it's like
like,
1988
feel
or
terrible
whatever.
about themselves.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like
94,
90, yeah,
I
early
think.
90s.
Yeah, Clerks 3 is like not really a movie, and I don't think it's
Is it like the series of skits thing? Like a
pretty much, yeah. And it's just kind of stuff's happening as an excuse to talk about the making of Clerks 1. Because that's literally the plot of it, and this is in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler. But one of the characters decides to make a movie about their life in black and white, and it's
Dante.
yeah, The cinematographer is Silent Bob, who is, of course, Kevin Smith.
Yep.
And it's not Joe Dante. It's Jeff Anderson, I want to say.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Who's the one who decides to make the movie.
Randall.
Or not Joe Dante is the director of Gremlins. Dante is the main character of Clerks, played by Brian O'Halloran.
Yep. Keep that all in.
Not Joe Dante. Yeah, Joe Dante shows up.
And he's like throwing water on everybody.
It's after midnight.
After midnight. Oh no. Brian
Feeding him snacks. Yeah, no. Anyway, the show I went to was full of people who look like Kevin Smith.
Yep.
Which I'm not. I'm not entirely excluded from.
I would bet so much money that the median age in that theater was like 45.
Yeah. And I think that's, if you're going to watch the movie, that's the way to do it, because Kevin Smith was there and introduced it.
Oh, that's fun.
And then like all the laugh lines and cameos and callbacks, everyone was like hooting and hollering at.
Yeah.
And that's really the only way to is to watch it. And I will say, a deeply sad movie. Very sad. Like a really mean thing to do for Kevin Smith to do to his friend Brian O'Halloran, who plays Dante, to have multiple scenes of him just like bawling his eyes out in like abject depression and stuff. Like, wow, okay, aging is catching up to Kevin Smith. Anyway, I don't think that spoils anything for anyone who wants to see Clerks 3.
That's kind of how Kevin Smith's been going lately.
I had a fun time.
Yep.
Wouldn't necessarily go if you're not going to be in a group of people who are just like,
I love Clerks. Yeah.
It's like seeing live comedy. Everyone's laughing. It's infectious.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So that's it. We haven't watched anything else.
All right. Get in, losers. We're going podcasting. We're doing it again to transition. So the way we'll structure this, I will say that loophole, I thought it was only fair if I did watch Mean Girls 2. So I did watch Mean Girls 2. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I don't think it would be a legitimate topic to cover for this episode. I am the person who hadn't seen Mean Girls 2, and I think you guys had seen it before, right?
No, I hadn't.
No, yeah,
Okay. I had
Sam
also
hasn't.
not seen it.
But I have a few times just to kind of test, like, is this still a bad movie? Yeah, this is still a terrible movie.
I had not seen it either.
But so we'll do Mean Girls 1 first, and then we'll have a little section of Mean Girls 2 at the end to make the episode legitimate and make it count.
I do have a lot of like a spiel about like the differences in the two and like how they tried to like imitate the first one, so I at least do have some content.
It's tough because I was thinking at the end we'd just be like, have you seen Mean Girls 1? Yep, it's that again, but it's not. There's unfortunately a lot I want to talk about with Mean Girls 2, and we're all going to cut all but about a minute of it out.
I feel like I could do a legitimately 15-minute Red Letter Media-esque like Prometheus bit where I'm just sitting there just like why did they just try to end that girl's like father's career? Like, they could have just like keyed his car.
It's weird because it's such a de-escalation in terms of drama and intelligence, but such an escalation in terms of like making people lose their jobs and trying to send people to jail.
Yep. Why
and, like,
weren't
framing
there any
people for felonies?
Why weren't there any jokes in it?
Well, that too. That's tough.
Why did they make a Hallmark movie but they called it Mean Girls too?
I don't think my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon University, would like to hear about this.
Oh my god!
I don't have enough money to go to one of the most prestigious schools in the country, Carnegie Mellon University.
Also, you live in Ohio. Like, just go somewhere else.
Did they sponsor it? Like, was Carnegie Mellon a sponsor?
They said it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Like,
I also feel bad that the boyfriend has to go to Penn State. And it's like, just go to Ohio State.
Penn State in 2011 too. Just tough time to be in Penn State.
There might be a throwaway line that he like got like a soccer scholarship or something. But
like,
they like never played him, like showed him really playing soccer except for that one like shirtless scene. It's like the movie is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he's also saying like, oh, you could go to Ohio State, get that in-state tuition. Like Ohio State is the cheapest school ever. Like I get, in-state,
in-state is still way cheaper.
Ohio State, like legitimately, like a good school,
top 10 school I'm sure in the nation for many things. Probably, like definitely. Like,
but her mother that died when she was young went to Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah,
so she has to go there.
Yep.
Use its full name or get the fuck out of it.
Going to see Mel's later this season.
See, Mel's.
So, like I said, we won't talk about Mean Girls 2 until the end.
Oh, shit.
We can-
my fault.
You can edit it.
Who wants to do a 1 minute plot summary on Mean Girls?
The first one?
The
Yes.
first one?
Yes.
I can do it.
Okay,
You want to do it?
say.
I feel like I've seen it the least of the non-hosts here, so I feel like that's probably fair.
Yeah, you can do it then.
All right. Start the clock. Katie Heron is no, she's not. She moved from Africa. White girl from Africa comes in. She's got to go to public school for the first time. She's been homeschooled. She's really confused. She doesn't get it. But she's attractive, and she meets a girl and a kind of gothic girl and a guy and a gay guy, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna use you to infiltrate the popular girls and ruin everything." And then that starts happening, kinda, but then it gradually just overwhelms Katie Heron, and she's now she's the mean girl. And then somebody gets hit by a bus. And that's basically the end of the. Actually, no. There's like 30 minutes after that. I forgot about. That's actually the weird thing about it is that's not the end of the movie. And then someone wins homecoming, not prom. It's homecoming. Someone wins homecoming.
It's
court.
spring
Spring
fling.
Spring fling, whatever. God. And then Mean Girls.
Perfect.
Got that slurp right into the mic.
I need you to keep that in there.
I think we have to
That's
now.
my three. My official review of Mean Girls 2 is going to be 1 slurp out of 5.
1 slurp.
One slurp?
Yeah,
We're gonna
1
get to that.
Slurp out of 5. So, wow, it's really thrown me off. Mean Girls, 2004, written by Tina Fey, adapted loosely, kind of, from a book called Queen Bees and Wannabes, I want to say.
Yeah, nonfiction self-help book.
And it is directed by Mark Waters, brother of...
John Waters.
No. Brother of, I'm just seeing if you guys even looked on the Wikipedia page. Dan Waters, the writer of Heathers.
Hey, we saw that movie too.
So, I mean,
tie-in.
we talked about during that episode how much relation there is. Well, the guy that wrote that, his brother directed this. He didn't write it though. But
John Waters
Makes a lot of
still.
sense, though.
John
Makes more
Waters.
sense than John Waters.
It does make more sense than John
Age-wise,
Waters.
topics-wise.
Yeah.
Tina Fey, not just the writer, but also co-star. I think besides Lindsay Lohan, the only name on the poster. But the
Or
person,
Lacey Chabert.
yeah, Lacey Chabert's in it. Rachel McAdams,
Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried, Lizzie Kaplan,
Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows. Those are kind of the main names of people we'll talk about in this episode, I think.
Did we say Rachel McAdams?
We did.
Oh, okay. Completely.
So what this represents to a lot of people around our age is a very specific moment in time where it seemed like Lindsay Lohan was going to be probably the biggest star of our generation without really, at this point, a close second, I don't think. And that it kind of falls apart for her pretty quickly after this.
Yeah, this is probably her peak by far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because she had some pretty big-ish movies that
Yeah.
were similar.
Well, she
Like
This
she had
is
like
the
Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
This is the year
Brandon was
after
big.
Freaky Friday, which I think is also Mark Waters directed.
And then like they'll have then she started having things like Herbie Fully Loaded, which it was like, are people going to go see this because Lindsay Lohan's in it, or are
I
people
get the Disney money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She had a lot of personal problems, and it does sound like she's doing better now recently.
Yeah.
I think she's in like a Netflix Christmas movie this year. I
Yes.
think that will come out soon, I guess.
To be fair, she's about 10 years late on like just crushing Hallmark movies for paychecks. So like I feel
That's
like
what
if
I
she
mean,
does-
Lacey
Lacey
Chabert's
Lacey
doing,
Chabert's
yeah.
doing that
I
now.
was
Yeah,
like,
that's
Lacey
the problem.
Chabert is
Lacey-
one of the like top 3 for Hallmark for
Lacey
sure.
Chabert saw her fall off a cliff and was like, jackpot, I'm about to
Yeah.
cash in. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
Candace
Amanda
Cameron
Seyfried
beer.
has done great. So has Rachel McAdams. Like they
Oh,
all,
yeah.
I think, have had very
I was gonna say,
robust careers.
It's a weird cycle around Tina Fey because Lacey Chabert's in a lot of Hallmark movies, and then
Yeah.
the actor who plays Suri on 30 Rock is in a lot of Hallmark movies, I think, too.
Then Candace Cameron Beer,
Yep. Well, yes, of course. But yeah. Anyway,
the queen of
We have
Hallmark.
to do some Hallmark movies at some point.
Oh,
for
so-
sure. I've got a lot of thoughts. I've watched a lot of movies. Oh
maybe that'll be Christmas this year.
my God. Please.
So it's the Lindsay Lohan moment, and then it's no longer to think. But yeah, I mean, I hope she's coming back. She had personal problems. It seemed like she was stuck in like Dubai for a while, right?
Oh, that sounds right. There was something weird.
Something like that
one, but
I knew there was definitely something odd happening, but she was in Dubai for a while for sure because she was doing. There was a award ceremony and they had her like remotely there from Dubai for some reason.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Strange.
poor girl.
Yeah, but I think she's getting herself back together. Seems like she had real shitty parents.
Yeah,
Unlike Neil Flynn and Anna Gaston.
who seemed like two nice parents.
Nice parents. I guess those are no more names that we'll mention now in the podcast.
I mean,
Rachel McAdams, how old is she in this? Because she's
She's like 27.
yeah, right.
She's
So there's,
one
like-
of the older ones.
There's the famous thing where it's like her and Amy Poehler are only like 4 years apart, and Amy Poehler's playing her mom. Which, granted, she's like, it's not like supposed to look like she could be like a mom of a high schooler. It looks like she's gotten work done and stuff, but
Yeah. And it's definitely like the absurdist like bent
Yeah.
to it, which I appreciate. But yeah, Rachel McAdams is definitely the oldest.
Yeah.
Of like all of the like,
She
teens there.
looks young, but she's still 27. Like you can't really fake looking 16 at
and Amy
27.
Poehler's
Yeah,
only
it's
like
fine.
32 in that movie, 33.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's very old.
Yeah, because I think Tina Fey's like 34 at
Right.
this point. Yeah, because she's 1970 since 2004, so probably 33 or 34.
It's a 32-year-old. That's painful to hear.
So what are you guys working on?
Ugh.
She stars and writes this movie and around that age.
How dare you? I'm a staff accountant.
Oh man, yeah. Right, yeah,
Had
yeah.
a
And-
popular blog on Game of Thrones. Hundreds of views.
yeah, you're totally right though. Amy Poehler has to be like 32 tops in this,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And Lindsay Lohan is 17 in filming, and then 18 when it finally gets released. So like her and Rachel McAdams are 10 years apart in this movie,
Yeah.
playing the same grade,
And Lacey Chabert is a little older too. I think
Not
she's
even
in her
playing
early
seniors,
20s.
playing juniors.
playing juniors.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a good movie though. Rachel McAdams, one of my favorite actors, I would have to say. If you haven't seen Game Night, go fucking see Game Night.
Game Night's
She's
really good.
extremely funny, has amazing delivery on several lines. And she does this, and this is pretty much like, oh, this is a person. Then The Notebook happens pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
Notebook
Same
was
year.
2000. No, was it 2006? I think.
I thought it was
I was gonna say
2004.
Or 5.
2005 maybe.
definitely
So it's
same
literally I
era.
think maybe the next year
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
Where she is playing like an adult woman. Like
Yes.
1 year. Playing
Oh,
high
it was
school.
2004. Yep.
Same year.
Same year.
Same year. Ooh.
Okay, great
Good for
year.
Rachel McAdams.
Great year. So that all that
Just
being
a couple
said,
months later.
Jesus.
I think Rachel McAdams in this is one of the best performances we've covered on this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she is. She is so good in this movie.
Yeah, she's freaking amazing in this movie. And then everyone is understanding exactly what movie they're in, and there's a realistic bent in how people talk to each other that Tina Fey's trying to get at, but there's still like not quite 30 Rock heightened level of reality, but
Like Amanda Seyfried is dumb, but probably
Yes.
dumber than most people would be.
Right.
But
A little more of a caricature, but I think still pretty airheaded, realistic.
yeah, and like the coach is like that's how a lot lot of gym health
Yep.
teachers
yeah,
kind of are, but he's obviously
A felon.
the foolish version of that.
Committing a felony.
the number of like gym teachers, more in like young, like not high school, like pre-high school, that were like trying to teach health, that were basically just like, yeah, you exercise every day, eat vitamins, and see ya. Like, let's go with the kickball.
Yeah. I was 2004, so I was 15. So I was a sophomore in high school when this came out. And I just remember being like, how'd they know? Like I just remember being like, they like, yeah, like this felt very real. Like it felt very like definitely heightened, definitely caricatures of it, but it was definitely written by people that I'm like, okay, they went to public school.
Yep.
They understand kind of like how kids talk to each other is mean, is ridiculous, is like all of these things. And so
Yep.
it absolutely became part of like the fabric of like, this was like one of those movies that you go back to forever because it was so kind of important in that time period. So
Yeah, something not shared by Mean Girls 2 is the vibe of this is how people actually talk to each other.
This came out when I was 9. And I think this movie actually made me kind of scared of high school.
Sure.
You like,
Yeah,
because
that
it
makes
was
sense.
just realistic enough when I was 9 that I was like, oh, if this is what high school is, I don't want this.
I luckily didn't see it till post high school. I don't know if it would have painted anything from my high school differently.
It's
but,
definitely more geared towards girls and like
Yeah,
how
yeah,
like
that's why I
the
didn't see
social
it until
dynamics of
post-high
girls in high school.
like I was just like, I'm not gonna go see that girl movie, and then like I got to college, everyone's like, 1, that's a stupid thing to say. 2, it's a really good movie, and then I was like, all right, and I was like, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it when it came out or right around then, and yeah, it's.
It probably
I
made
mean,
you.
Most of the guys in the movie are just kind of bopping around. So it's like,
It's 100,
yeah,
but it's 100% like girl on girl like violence and
Yes.
crime and
Yeah.
kind of like
The
that
social
sort of
dynamics,
thing.
yeah.
And they deal with it really well.
Oh, yeah.
And present it in a very true fashion. Again, heightened caricature-esque,
Yeah.
but absolutely something that is not again shared by Mean Girls 2.
No.
Is that is kind of actually a message they're trying to
Right.
kind of get across.
and a thing that Tina Fey's obviously really interested in because, I mean, she wrote herself as the main character in 30 Rock that repeatedly is proven to hate women pretty much. And this the girl on girl crime kind of thing is clearly something that she cares about.
Yeah.
And good movie.
Great
Really
movie.
good movie.
Fantastic movie.
And this is the second movie in a row because we did School of Rock last week that there is someone in it that was a recent Emmy winner. Last week was Mike White, who had just won for White Lotus and plays Ned Schneebly in School of Rock. And this week, Amanda Seyfried, who just won for Dropout, which I guess is main lead actress in a miniseries or whatever. She just won for that. Good for her.
Yeah.
She's been nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, and she's obviously overqualified for this role, but
Yeah.
really good in it.
She's had a kind of weird career. She's kind of been all over the place, but she's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Veronica Mars must be right after this or right before this.
I would think so. I think Veronica
Veronica
Mars
Mars
started
was
like
right
05.
before.
Oh, you think it was before?
I think it started
So I
before
didn't-
this, but it probably ran through.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't Veronica Mars someone else?
Kristen Bell was the star.
Kristen-
She's
Oh.
in it.
She's
Oh,
in it.
okay.
She plays the dead best friend that Kristen Bell's investigating the murder
Gotcha.
of.
Okay.
Who talks to Kristen
Oh
Bell.
no, you guys are totally right. 2004 for Veronica Mars.
Okay,
So
well,
exact
everything
same
happened
year.
this year.
Literally everything.
So
happened
much
this
happened in
year.
Everybody-
2004.
Everybody but
movies.
Lacey Chabert's
Yeah.
career started in 2004.
Yes, she plays Kristen Bell's dead best friend, who the first season is about Kristen Bell like uncovering who actually killed her and stuff.
Gotcha. I haven't
But
seen it. So.
all told, Lacey
Ooh,
Chabert.
You should see that show. That show's
Oh,
awesome.
I think you'd like it.
That show kicks ass.
Yeah, but all told, Lacey Chabert probably has like the best time on all those Hallmark movies. Like we've
Oh, yeah.
heard on is it How Did This Get Made, that they talk often about how they would do a Hallmark movie if given the chance because it sounds like such a like sweet like
Yeah, you just get
prime-
put up in a nice Canadian hotel for
Yeah.
a while. And
Yeah.
Lacey Chabert was in a Lifetime movie that I really liked. Because Lifetime movies are really cheesy. They're a dime a dozen. They're the same plots. But she was in a very specific one that I actually think was better than the average Lifetime movie, where she plays I believe it's a housewife, but her husband's gaslighting her by like changing her medication and stuff like that because she starts to think that she has like multiple personality disorder because of it. And I like all Lifetime movies. I think she kills her husband in the end or something, and she gets away with it. It's
usually how
very
it goes.
good for a
It's
Lifetime
usually how
movie.
it goes.
Yeah.
spoilers.
Oh, they all end the same.
Yeah.
Husband's dead.
But like for a Lifetime movie, it was very well made, and it had Lacey Chabert as the star. So
Yeah.
I feel like she's become almost like a punchline. I mean, she's literally been a punchline on Family Guy.
Yep.
yeah,
But
She's
she's
had a crazy good career in the
Yeah.
90s.
and she's really good in this.
Yeah. I mean, she was in Party of Five. Was that the show she was in? I think as a kid.
Yeah.
And then she was Eliza Thornberry on The Wild Thornberries.
Yeah.
And she was Meg Griffin for 2 seasons in Family Guy before
Yep.
she got replaced by Mila Kunis, who's still catching. Like I was
Oh
talking the
my
other day
God.
about how it's nuts that like Seth
That's
Green.
why she doesn't have to work that much.
Yeah, Seth Green and Mila Kunis just constantly cashing checks on that show, like in the
Yeah.
background. Oop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
she
no.
does a Bad Moms movie and then moves on.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Her but yeah, her Gretchen Wieners is really well done. It's this
Yep.
kind of heightened, you can tell she's always like on edge, just kind of
Right.
the like sort of to the side, like second in command, but not like kind of taken for granted by Rachel McAdams sort of thing. It's
Yes.
so good.
not someone who could
They're
ever
just like, we should
assume
totally
command.
kill
Right.
Caesar.
Yeah. And it's great because like even like specifically to compare it to Mean Girls 2, where the girl that is Gretchen stand-in for Mean Girls 2, her entire character is just like, oh, she hates germs. And then that's
That's
her thing.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Whereas,
Like they try to like have her be Gretchen by knowing things because she's like an office assistant, I think it is.
Yeah.
So she's like able to get files.
She
and
does
stuff
seem
like
a little
that.
more capable than Gretchen.
A
but-
little bit, but like they don't
Yeah.
really show it.
No.
Besides like that one scene where she gets her file and she's like she's a transfer student from this
Yeah.
place and all that stuff, and it's like, well, sure, but like she's not even the one that got the file. I think because the other girl like made out with someone or something to get the file. I hate that character too.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie.
And Gretchen's very good. Like everyone knew someone like Gretchen in high school, whether you're friends with her or not. Like she is like Rachel McAdams might have been too mean to be like. I'm sure there are some high schools where like that girl didn't exist. At least there was a caricature of a girl that existed.
Yeah.
There were bimbo-esque girls that existed like Amanda Seyfried that existed, but they weren't that dumb. There were people that were exactly like
Yes.
Gretchen Wieners.
Yeah.
Like, there were
She
people-
was captured very well for that type of
yeah,
person.
and I mean that's why she, I guess the big pullout quotes that still get memed or stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah.
That's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's so many
I don't think
lines
my
from this.
Father, the
The inventor of the toaster strudel.
Inventor of the toaster strudel.
would be happy to hear about this or whatever that quote is.
I'm sorry, I'm such a good friend or whatever.
I can't help that I'm popular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
She's like
mine too.
crying, saying I'm such
Yeah.
a good. I use that one all the time.
Yeah.
When I do something that's not helpful at all.
The number of lines.
because I'm such a good friend.
Yes.
So before we dive into that, this is one of the more quotable movies that we've covered
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
And especially among our generation is one that is constantly quoted. It's 18 years old now, but all the stuff that we've mentioned, you still see in some meme format using that line. We didn't even mention get in losers, we're going shopping.
I
Specifically for millennials.
Which,
I was gonna say, it's like
which
if you
table
pull
would
up
you
to pick
sit
up a
at
friend.
in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
My absolute favorite quote from this movie is one that I use very often, that when someone can't do something, I constantly, every single time, you can expect me to say, boo, you whore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yes.
And then on October 3rd, he asked me what day it is. It's October 3rd.
I watch Mean Girls every October 3rd.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
For the
Mean Girls
last
Day.
18
We wear
years.
pink on Wednesdays. Like
It is a tradition that I have not broken. I watch it
Yep.
every October 3rd, the last 18 years.
yeah, it's like every line. It's like just about every line.
Must get in must hurt family obligations for you too to be able to watch it on October 3rd.
I know, yeah. It's our dad's birthday. Yeah. So.
But we all wear pink on Wednesday.
Yeah.
October 3rd.
Is that why you're wearing pink right now for the podcast?
Oh yeah, sure.
Because this was intentional.
Oh yeah, three of us are wearing pink. I was gonna wear a pink hat, and I
brought pink.
That counts.
I have a pink hat that I meant to wear, and I didn't. So
You got the shirt. It's good.
Yeah.
we're all wearing pink in some
Yes.
way. Yeah, man, this is just a cultural moment of a movie. It's sort of hard to find an angle to get into, but we haven't really talked too much about the actual goings on of the plot yet. Which is we start with the homeschooled kids are strange.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I've met a single homeschool kid that was like socially aware. I think they've all been a little off.
There was one.
Right.
There was
And
one.
it's not their fault.
Yeah, no, it's not their fault. The kids need socialization. You can't
Yeah.
homeschool a kid for that long.
There was one kid I went to college with that was homeschooled that I was like actually I don't think I ever told him this, but I was like actually shocked how socially good he was. But even him, like he was very socially like good looking kid. Like there's always something a little homeschooly about him. Like and I'm sure he'd tell you
Just
that
had
too.
that
Just,
like faint waft of
Yeah, just
homeschool. Yeah, but I also think it was when she points out how weird school is for her, and it's kind of a nice dichotomy to see that when she's like, I've never had adults just not trust me. And when she's like, I had to ask to go to the bathroom, and like the guy's like, sit down. It's like,
Yeah, especially because like when you're in college, like you don't have to ask.
No.
Like you can just get up and
it's
go.
such like a thing to like you don't think about it when you're in schools, and you don't think about it when you're like going through it. But yeah, it is weird. But
I vividly remember the first time in college, like I can just go to the bathroom, like I can just get up,
You
like
just
they're not
get
gonna. Just go.
no one's going to police you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying to be there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to leave, go for it.
If you want to fail, it's on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the lack of trust from adults, and you know
Mhm.
the German lady yelling at her and everything.
Yeah.
It's a good montage. It does really, man. Yeah, it's really insightful in ways that Mean Girls 2 is not. And I don't really want to talk about that anymore. So I'll just say, man, yeah, that's what it feels like for sure. And they get the peer pressure stuff down and
Yeah,
the
part where she's-
politics of who you hang out with, who you
Yeah.
sit with in the
The part
cafeteria.
where she starts to kind of like legitimately like fail a class to get the boys' attention.
Yeah, I hate that part.
Yeah,
But
It's
it's
upsetting.
accurate though.
Yeah.
Like it's
I like-
so easy to dumb yourself down to try to get someone's attention, or it's in the same vein of like trying to like fake an interest of like whoever you like to see, like to get them to like you.
And I mean, we've all seen people do that, where you kind
Yeah.
of change your interest to match the people that you're with, or the way that you're acting, and
Right.
it's kind of this weird thing that you kind of hopefully grow out of at a certain point of just kind of like, okay, they're going to like me for me. And it doesn't mean that I have to have the exact same interests as them.
Yeah, they're so
We're gonna
interested
be
in what they
okay. Yeah.
I like that she does eventually tell him that he's bad at math.
Yeah.
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 I'm not bad at math. You're bad at math.
Yeah.
I'm good at math.
Oh, quotes wise, sorry. I literally say often the limit does not exist. And like that, like escalating, the limit does not exist.
Yep.
I made that a trivia question at my work. I was literally like, "What is the answer to this limit?" And like 3 people immediately in all caps just wrote the limit does not
That's
exist.
so good.
Very funny. And yeah, this beyond just the quotability and the stuff going on there, it's like we were saying, it's so insightful to how it actually goes. Like a lot of teen movies, it's got a good mall scene or two in it.
Yep.
Yep.
Like that Tina Fey's. What is the place she works at? It's like it's
Johnny
like
Tchotchkes or
Calamities?
something. Like
Yeah.
that. No, Tchotchkes is the one from Office Space.
Chachi's one from Oscar Space.
It's
but
like
yeah.
PJ Calamities.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
yeah.
I know it's something
Yeah, it's a
Calamities.
bar.
Yeah, it's like the Bennigans.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just like they got she basically has flair.
I was
Like
gonna say she's
there's-
got all the
Yes.
flair.
Yeah, she does have flair.
Yeah, the mall scene shows like it's one of like the first instances of like showing how like evil Regina is by like making that girl's mom think that
Plan-
she's pregnant. Like so simple but so heinous.
Yep.
Like
which is so much again to bring it back to Mean Girls 2. That one, it's like, oh, I'm gonna call her mom and say like her Planned Parenthood results are in or whatever. Like that is simple, like you just said, simple and evil. Like Mean Girls 2, it's like we're gonna put sugar in her dad's race car and
just-
someone's gonna die.
yeah, and just completely like oh my god.
Yeah.
The ruthlessness of the evil stuff in Mean Girls 2 just doesn't have like any substance
No.
to it, like compared to
No, it just
to Mean
escalates. They go back and forth twice, and then immediately she's like, "Well, you won't go to school soon because you'll be homeless after your dad leaves his job."
And then there's no more you, and it's like that is
It's
And then
crazy.
it's like,
awful.
She finds the evidence that the girls clearly like sabotaged the car, and I was like just screaming to her like the Anakin Padme meme, where it's like she went to the police and she got arrested, right? Like she went to the police and she got arrested, right?
No,
Police were
you
not
got to
involved.
internalize that shit, man. And just-
Oh my
No,
god.
she just goes to a coffee shop and calls her a bitch instead.
Yep.
Jeez.
It is oh my god.
yeah, Mean Girls 2 just keeps poking through into our fun.
But yeah, no, we are correct in that the things that happen in kind of that are bad have this grain of like that's feasible.
Right.
That there is it's definitely over the top. It's definitely the worst that someone could do, but it's still feasible that this could be happening.
Right.
And the way that they kind of talk about like the other girls and things like that, they're like, that's the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
entire life. And like that,
And
like
the
complete,
callback
like,
to her knowing that
Yeah.
was
and
said
the
about
complete
her.
like deadpan
Yeah.
face that
Yeah.
Rachel McAdams does it with. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
Yep.
it's so kind of like you feel it because you're like, oh god, I've like interacted with people that kind of I've seen
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
One
I've
of-
experienced that.
Absolutely.
I also really like when Tina Fey in the mall scene again is trying to get Katie to join the athletes, and like Damien's like standing off to the side. Like another quick tangent, like the difference between those movies, like Mean Girls 2 stinks. Everything's just plot, exposition, plot. we're getting plot in Mean Girls 1, and Damien's in the background just just playing with products, and like Lizzie Cap will just look at him like, put that down, like,
Yeah. Like that
Yeah.
is foot cream, like, and
Yeah,
everything that is mentioned or like in the background is brought back in some way.
Yeah.
Like there's a payoff for almost everything compared to Mean Girls
Ugh.
2, where they just kind of have things and then they're never brought up again.
Yeah, and then so like she's like, join the math team, and then Damien's just like, that's suicide, like that's like, you will die, which is like.
The
We've all
acting
been in high
in that
school,
part.
like,
Yeah.
I was on the math team. Like, I wasn't bragging about that I was on the math team to like popular.
Yeah, I did
people.
Model UN.
Yeah,
I feel like it was the history version.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Math
I would have. We didn't have Model UN. I would have loved that.
You would have been great
I
at
would have
that.
been great at it. Wouldn't known all the flags.
It would have been so good.
but-
I was Mauritania.
Ooh, good flag.
Yeah.
But the
The acting on Damien in that part, like you can tell he's just like shaking. Like that one like meme with the guy with like the vein. He's just shaking until he can say that line. It's so well.
He had so many good lines.
He
Too.
Oh, I
does.
love Damien.
And then my other part of that is like they come back and like she ends up joining the mathletes and she does the whole thing and then they win, and Kevin, the captain of the math team, is like another person that everyone had in school. It was like that kid that's just like, yes, this is who I am. I'm a giant nerd.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yep.
so happy about it.
Yeah.
And he's
Got a
like, we're going to wear
business
our
card.
shirts and like kill it. in
Like
this
he would never
Exactly.
get bullied because like you couldn't.
What
he
are
was
you going to
just
say to
so.
that kid? Oh, you're a giant nerd. Cool, I know that. I'll
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
having a better job than you.
Yeah.
See ya.
I was like
Yeah.
in my head, it was very similar to like robotics club in my school of like they knew they were doing nerdy shit and they
Right.
loved it.
Yeah.
Did not
Exactly.
care.
Yeah.
Once
It's,
you
it's an
figure-
8 Mile situation.
Yeah, once you figure out your self-actualization, they can't touch you.
Yeah.
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 He
I,
just took his pants off and walked down.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just back to Damien for a second. The like she doesn't even go here is another
Yeah,
line that gets
another
said
good
all
one.
the time.
Yep.
Yes, that's.
I get that one.
wonderful.
That one happens at school all the time. Like kids say that one. Just
Yeah.
like she doesn't even go here.
I love that the youth still quote this
Oh.
movie.
Danny DeVito, I love
Get
your
it?
work.
Oh,
that one's an underrated one. I feel like
nice
no one
wig
says that one
Janice was
enough.
made out of.
Yeah, that character's great. He's just in the background. You can picture a version of this where he's like the Yago, just like monologuing what stuff's
Yes.
happening.
Yep.
Oh, him and just to have like a side tangent, we might actually talk about this more. I haven't seen the actual musical yet, but I've listened to the soundtrack from Mean Girls, the musical, and Damien's monologues and stuff in that musical is so good. Like especially like the song where it's the scene where they're introducing like the cafeteria and stuff. They're very self-aware that it's a musical almost, because there's a line where he's singing to introduce, and I believe the person that does Janice like is making fun of him, and he's like, "Ha, I'm singing, ha ha ha, let me continue."
Yeah.
But yeah, the Damien character is so good.
Yeah, he's great. It's just all
Yeah.
I
all
wish
the
there were more times in my life I could scream that at somebody.
Oh, my picture back.
Oh,
All-
more pink shirts.
all the weird little asides and such that he has. And just very indicative, I guess, of the sort of non sequitur humor that Tina Fey would arguably perfect in a couple years when 30 Rock starts,
Yeah, for sure.
at least by season 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, just a cool movie. All the performances are really freaking good.
Yeah, I was gonna
And-
say there's not a single weak performance in that
No.
movie.
No, we haven't even really talked about Tim Meadows, and
Yep.
as
I
the
did
only
not leave the South Side for this.
yeah, there's another one.
So good.
Yeah, and his just sort of resignation after asking like one person to ask a question and then just going, I can't do this.
Yeah, I will keep you here all night if I have to. We can only keep them till 4. I will keep you till 4.
Oh man, yeah, no, not a bad performance. Hard not to just devolve into. Then this quote is a good one
Yeah.
too. So she joins up with the Plastics as a sort of sleeper agent, I guess,
Yeah.
to relay embarrassing stuff back to Janice and Damien.
And they do a really good job of it being a slow progression of her
getting
and also
overwhelmed.
talking about how she's self-aware of it. That part where she's like, I could hear myself talking about Regina and not being able to stop. That almost that like
Yeah.
I could
I
feel myself annoying others
Right.
and not
Yes.
be able to stop.
I've definitely had that moment where it's like, I know I'm being annoying, but I can't stop talking about this thing.
It's never happened to me once in my entire life.
I'm perfect in all social situations.
Yep.
And yeah, that just really captures that feeling of, yeah. And she was, yeah, you already told me that.
Yeah, it's crazy how 18 years later this movie is still so relatable.
Yes.
And there's some language that hasn't aged well, But besides that, I think everything else has aged very, very well.
Well, that's, there's a reason there's a couple 30 Rock episodes that you can't find anywhere anymore. That's the Tina Fey of it all. Even though she is sort of like the conciliatory role herself in the movie, she's also has a lot of edge to what she writes usually. And that edge is certainly exists in this movie too, and I think it's better for it, but it is a double-edged sword where there's a couple things where you're like, ugh, that was really mean.
That was tough. 20 years ago, or 20 years in hindsight, it's not that great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt like the thing that I had kind of the most like, ugh, about was like all the stuff with Janice of like why she was kind of being bullied and kind of had been like the mention of just like the throwaway, like there was a petition in 8th grade like about it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's mean.
Jesus.
But still realistic, because that stuff, especially like back then, like that kind of stuff was prevalent for bullying. Like being excluded because like she thought that she could be a lesbian. Like it was. I mean, it's realistic, but the R word being slung only like twice. I think she only says it twice, but yeah. Other than that, though, everything I think is pretty. I mean, even saying the R word back then was realistic for the movie, but
definitely just didn't age well. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, and it's just such I think a sort of timeless, maybe not even timeless, but the experience of being like a teen and having to worry about all these social pressures is. I don't think that goes away ever. So, and that's what the movie really captures well. The scene where she's comparing everyone at the mall to like the watering hole and stuff. Yeah. It's like, that's about right.
Every time I watch that movie, I think the one I specifically think about is the like, if this was the animal world, like I know what I'd do. And it's like her like tackling Rachel McAdams and Aaron, the guy who plays Aaron Samuels, like getting on all fours and like screaming like an animal. I just like that scene. Because there's going to be no background noise for that scene. They're layering in animal sound. So it's like, that's definitely just a scene that you do. And then immediately afterwards, everyone awkward laughs because they had to do that. Like, I can always just think of how awkward that like day of filming must have been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to find actors that just have
I know. Like, I've never been an actor, sense. So I inherently think of that as embarrassing. Whereas actors, but they're still kids. Like I don't know how much acting a lot of them have been doing. I don't know how much acting the Aaron Samuels kid has done up until that point.
Yeah. Probably the most experience was probably Lindsay Lohan because she had done so much as a child. But
and Lacey Chabert because she had at least been on TV.
Yep. Yes,
I don't know how much movies
true.
she had done.
Yeah. Tina Fey had been on SNL since the 90s.
Tim Meadows.
I know we're talking about the kids.
Anna Gasteyer, actually, a very veteran.
Yeah.
I did want to say I would love this movie was rewritten because it was supposed to be a rated R movie, and I'm just dying to see the rated R version of it because I think they wanted it to be a little more accessible to teens because it was a high school movie.
Made way less money.
Exactly. That's why they rewrote part of like lots of the script because there was a lot more mature language and a lot of more mature scenes because one of the big ones was when I forgot his name, but when he goes up to Katie and says, "Do you want your muffin buttered?" That was actually supposed to be, "Do you want your cherry popped?" That's why the mouth doesn't line up with it, and why they tried to cut it so you can't really notice.
That's Carlos from Magic School Bus, by the way.
Oh my God!
If anybody's like, that guy's voice sounds familiar.
Yep, imagine him saying that.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Do you want someone to pop your cherry? And the other really big scene that was changed / cut out was at the Halloween party, I think, where Gretchen is with him in the bathroom and they're just kind of kissing. That was supposed to be a blowjob scene that got changed to be PG-13. So I would love to see a rated R Mean Girls. Like I wish they had kept that and just kind of released it later, kind of like a Snyder cut.
The Tina face.
Yeah, the Tina Fey cut. It's in 4:3 format.
Black and white.
There's weirdly an epilogue with the Joker.
This entire thing it was just like an origin story and
God.
Joker's played by Will Forte.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I I'm just saying, I'd watch that movie.
Okay.
You love Will Forte way too much.
I was about to say I'll watch anything with Will Forte in it, but I stopped watching Last Man on Earth, so that's not.
Yeah, that's true. I got through the first season of that. I did not pick it back up.
Yep, that's exactly what
I think people who stuck with it said they liked it. I guess. So there's a whole genre of song that is sort of making a resurgence now. That is, I guess this is sort of on the tail end of movies that end in prom scenes where there's a female-fronted rock band playing a song. But that genre of song is one of my favorite genres. There's a lot of like female-fronted rock bands that play songs that sound like they could be played in the prom scene at the end of a teen comedy.
Yep.
And yeah.
Like Sixpence None the Richer's entire career.
Yes. Yeah.
Letters to Cleo.
Letters to Cleo. Yep. Yep. And now there's like a whole resurgence of that type of music right now.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Beach Bunny.
Yep.
Love that name.
I'm just thinking of the Letters to Cleo song where they do like the here and now, but like it's a prom like slow dance, but then they have to speed up for the on the side.
So good.
I can only ever picture Adam Scott mouthing the lyrics to that from the side of the stage.
Yeah.
Speaking of Amy Poehler, right? Who is great in this movie too, and she's
There's
only
not
in
much
like
to do. But
she's only in 3 scenes,
And she killed it.
yep.
She didn't have many scenes, but she killed all the ones that she was in.
She doesn't even have lines in the part that's probably the most like gifts of her watching their Christmas performance, and
yeah.
she's like with the camera doing those.
I love the like in the drinking scene. Like I've had so many. Like I think I've had at least like 2 to 3 parents in my life when I was in like high school or college age. Of like if you're gonna drink, I'd rather you do it here. Like
No, she's a pretty good mom. Like
Yep.
besides the younger daughter watching Girls Gone Wild in the background. But
I remember going to a house party as a 21-year-old for someone who was turning 20, and the mom like taking my keys as I walked in. And I'm like, well. She's like, I know everyone's going to drink and that's okay. And I'm like sitting there like, I'm 21. I bought my own alcohol. There's a house party in Somerset, Massachusetts at 12, like after noontime. Like, we're not going to get blasted and drive home.
Well,
but she wanted you to be safe.
I
like,
know.
yeah.
That's what I'm already getting at.
Yeah.
Like, it is
yeah,
kind of like.
yeah. I had friends that were just like, all right, give me your keys.
Yeah.
The scene
Okay.
where she goes into the room while Regina and her boyfriend are making out, and she's like, "Do you want snacks? A condom? All right, have fun."
Man, yeah. And then the turn after the party where then she's like, persona non grata for a while. And and then Regina George gets hit by a bus. And, and every time I watch this movie, I forget, like, I don't think Rachel McAdams has any lines after that.
She does the weird wave, but I don't think
She says a couple things. I think.
does she?
What?
She's there and she waves.
She says thank you when she waves at least.
Okay.
But
I paid that day.
No, but yeah, I think you're right. I think after that she doesn't say much. I think everything else is she joins the lacrosse team, was it?
Yep, to get out of her aggression.
And I don't think she says anything during that. She does like a head nod at the final scene. I think that's it. Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't
she's
think I ever
basically
noticed that.
removed.
And when that bus happened, the bus feels like the end of the movie. It's really the beginning of Act 3. Like I remember pausing that the last time because I was curious how much was left, and there's like 30 minutes left.
There's a lot
at that
left.
point.
There's still a lot to
there's
wrap
a
up.
To me,
about.
and maybe it's just me. At that point when she gets hit by that bus, in my head, I'm like, all right, end game now.
Well,
it's like you still get the math
because-
competition, you still have homecoming, you still.
I mean, because that's for my money the best performance in the movie and the villain of the movie, and she's not in the rest of the movie at that point. And I feel like that. I mean, obviously not getting hit by a bus, but that is sort of a realistic way that these kinds of things may happen among teens, where there's not a climactic football game to decide everything that someone gets arrested at the end of.
Yeah.
You just like people are just like whatever they. Start doing other things.
Yep.
Everyone like, okay, whatever. I'm going to hang out with these people now.
Yeah. I also
You just move on.
I love the equilibrium, but also like they're like, oh, and like, and everybody like, because it's especially in small schools, you get to a point where it's like, yeah, everyone's just kind of fine with each other. Like, yeah, there's
you
bullying
float.
going on. Yeah,
there's
float.
social floating.
And but there are still cliques coming up from middle school because that's always how it was. Like I remember I had a much worse time freshman and sophomore year getting picked on by people than by the time I was a senior. Everyone's just like, like those like I'm just not even gonna talk to you because it's not worth it. Like the bully people, or they were just targeting sophomores, so I didn't care anymore, or they graduated.
Right. Yeah.
I also want to say how well it's foreshadowed that she gets hit by a bus.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Because again, like everything is on purpose in this movie. Like at the very beginning, Katie almost gets hit by a bus, and then that gets brought back, and Regina gets hit by a bus. Like everything has a purpose in this movie, and I love it.
Those buses are flying through that.
Yeah,
school
they
zone.
are. Those are not going 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, the fake out at the end where the new plastics get hit by the bus. Those girls get destroyed by that bus. It's a Final Destination shit.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. A cool movie, and yeah. Anything else you want to say about Mean Girls 1?
No.
It's one of my favorite movies. I can't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely like my favorite comfort movie. Like if I'm feeling horrible, I'm putting either Mean Girls, House Bunny, or Easy A on. That's my trifecta.
Nice.
I know we're not rating this movie because it's not what the episode's about, but if I had to rate this movie, I'd give it 5 Glen Cocos out of 5. You go, Glen Coco.
You go, Glen Coco.
We'll get to ratings. I had something else I wanted. So we didn't really talk about the spring fling scene where she's breaking up the tiara.
I thought that was a really good scene.
It's not really supposed to be a speech.
He just keeps trying to interrupt it and end it.
Yeah, and that's another. I haven't said iconic yet. That's like another iconic moment in this movie, and then obviously, it's all really good. I mean,
I did want
prom
to bring up
spring fling scenes are endemic to this genre of movie, and I feel like this is one of the better ones.
I did want to bring up, since we're talking about spring fling, in that speech, Katie says, I believe her name is Martha. She's like, I bet that hair took like 2 hours.
No, it did not.
No, exactly. The actress came out like 18 years later saying that actually only took like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like tied back, right?
Yeah, like she probably had like some product in it or stuff, but it's just like a pretty simple hairstyle. And just 18 years later, the actress is like, no, it only took like 15 minutes.
Oh, I thought that when watching it yesterday.
Exactly,
I was just like, oh yeah,
I remembered that.
No.
But I mean, a cool scene. I like that they pay off Janice and Damien. Like, and then immediately like, gross. No.
Yeah, they pay off almost everything. Almost everything is redeemed in some way. Like they do such a good job of wrapping everything up in a realistic way. Because again, high school drama doesn't matter. So like by the time they were seniors, it was fine. Like that's realistic.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I definitely appreciate how it ended, and this movie's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So Sam would give it 5 Glen Cocos out of 5. What would you guys give it?
I gotta think of a scale.
I know. I gotta think of a scale as well.
Glen Coco's so good.
We know they're 5s.
It's 100% a 5.
It's a 5. I just gotta think of a scale. Ooh, I think I got one. So I'm gonna break the scale. I'm gonna give it a 6 Taco Bells out of 5.
Nice.
That is gonna be difficult to collate on Letterboxd.
I never know what's gonna happen on the board.
You want to go out? You want to get Taco Bell? I can't eat Taco Bell. I'm on an all-carb diet. God, Karen, you're so stupid.
You're not stupid, Karen. No, I am.
I'm failing almost everything.
Yeah. 5. I'm a mouse. Duh. Out of 5.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, it's gonna be 5 for me.
I was kicking around like doing burn books or.
There's so many things it could be. I was trying to like rattle them out.
I was like the Valentine's Day, like pull out roses or.
Yeah, that's where your mind's at. I'm like, it's like 5 fugly sluts out of 5.
Yeah.
I also trying to think should it have been 5 for you, Glen Coco? Like 5 for you, Mean Girls. You go, Mean Girl. 5 for you, Glen Coco. Good for you, Glen Coco.
You go, Glen Coco.
Yeah, I love that. Like, there's so many things that are just like Damien, but it's never really like.
Yeah.
It's never really addressed that like Damien is just around doing all like the school.
Yeah,
like,
he's part of like every
work.
club. Yeah.
He's counting all the ballots and
He's rigging the ballots like.
And none for Mean Girls 2. Bye.
Yeah, none.
Oh, it's so good.
5 inventors of toaster strudel out of 5.
There you go.
Very good.
Perfect.
We nailed it. I'll give you a 1 minute plot summary on Mean Girls 2. There's the Mean Girls 2. Now that once we cut everything out, we'll be approaching an hour now, so we'll get a little bit of time in here on Mean Girls 2.
Because I got a lot to say.
Which we will shrink down. we don't have to hop at this. Mean Girls 2 is a movie?
Barely.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Are you just set a timer or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to. I'm just asking if that's what you were doing because I would wait.
No, not directly, but now I got one. So
Okay, whatever.
start the clock.
All right, Mean Girls 2. We meet up with a girl who is already confident and cool and able to make friends. She's new in town, but not new to schools. She's been to other schools before. She is referred to as a badass biker chick, and she drives a Vespa. So she gets to school. There's a girl who's like seemingly not that cool who turns out to be like Bill Gates rich. And so she tries to befriend her, and it doesn't work. And then her father pays her to befriend her. And she's like, I was going to anyway. There's girls in the school called plastics. There's cliques that she refers to as cars because her dad is a NASCAR driver. Anyway, she never joins up with the mean girls, but forms an anti-plastics group that is also mean. And eventually it's revealed that there's an expose written by a unfaithful friend who uses quote unquote journalism equipment to prepare someone else's college application, whatever, that comes to a head. The two factions meet up and have a powder puff football game, which is full contact. They quickly abandon the rules. The main girl is under threat of expulsion, or actually does get expelled because she's framed for a felony. It turns out the other girl committed it. In about minute 5 of the movie, there's obvious foreshadowing that their across the street neighbor has cameras pointed directly at their house. And the villain of the movie commits many crimes directly in front of those cameras. And the whole time you're just going, hey, who's going to check the cameras? And it takes about an hour and a half for anyone to check the cameras. And then that girl gets arrested because of a tramp stamp butterfly tattoo. And it ends basically like Promising Young Woman with all the,
Oh my god.
with all the bad characters getting arrested. With one or two important differences.
Yeah, Bo Burnham.
Well, no one's murdered.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay.
I figured that was actually better than
It's
us
fine.
grinding over most of the plot. We're doing a good job.
Yeah. And then so they're juniors, and then in the epilogue, they're like, and senior year was fine, and now we're going to college.
Yeah.
Just very funny.
This movie was a mess. The one thing I want to bring up. She's going to North Shore High, which is the same school because
Is it,
Tim
though?
Meadows is still exactly. Tim Meadows
Meadows
is
is
still the
there. He
president.
couldn't be anywhere else.
However,
Principal.
Mean Girls is in Illinois. Mean Girls 2 is in Ohio. So they already fucked that up.
Yep.
Different state,
No
same
one's checking
school.
continuity.
Nope.
So we've mentioned it a few times, but the girl wants to go to Carnegie Mellon University and says that name in full at least 8 times.
Yep.
Yes, it's shown on screen a bunch of times.
It's also a clearly better school than Ohio State because they dunk on Ohio State for a second to talk about how much better Carnegie
Again,
Mellon University is.
why do they hate Ohio State?
The Ohio State.
I know it was like
Ohio
one
State.
was the one of the writers rejected from Ohio State.
Watching this movie, it felt very Disney Channel to me, which makes sense, as come to find out. It aired on ABC Family, and it has a lot of people who were in Disney Channel movies and TV shows, and the main character was also in Until Dawn.
Yep.
But the style, both in the way that it's filmed and people's actual style in the movie, feels very Disney Channel to me. Their acting performances are too, and it's just not the same level at all, and it's not really worth talking about. But there are some choice line readings. The girl's pants are super glued to a Vespa when she comes in to park, and just gives an excellent line reading. I'm sure you can find it online, where she goes, "Hey, Abby." And as she's falling, it's the craziest
so
fucking thing
bad.
I've ever seen. And there's a point where there was obviously placeholder text on a letter of acceptance from Carnegie Mellon University that this girl gets that was never supposed to be zoomed in on, but they do zoom in on it, and it's broken English, and it's misspelled, and it's missing punctuation.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right
So
now.
bad.
They spelled congratulations wrong multiple times. And then it just says, I would like to congratulate you on you are now challenged with making the very important decision of selecting which college or university you are going to
The end
attend.
is very
but
funny.
they've already
If you see the end where they caution that it may be bad for their health to go to college, which is
Makes
how
no sense.
which is how all college acceptance letters end.
Was the budget for this movie $10?
I could, yeah.
I
You
think
can
they
find
thought
your couch, just like scrounging
The
up. We're
best-
gonna make a movie.
I just have to. We at Carnegie Mellon recognize the importance of your decision and the commitment, I think, to learn and develop by means of association with an outstanding center of learning. As awesome as it may sound, this decision may very well have an impact on the quality of your life. Which
Yeah, all the student
which
debt.
isn't the tone of acceptance letters.
It's
typically.
not.
I do
Right, I guess it's
Yeah.
true.
Student debt.
I do
You don't live near here, and it's a very expensive school. You sure you want to come?
it was so funny to me that they were like, oh, like the dad was like, oh, I can't swing it anymore because dad,
Yeah.
like
The
I lost
NASCAR
my
money all
the
dried
NASCAR
up.
money all dried up. And then
The bad investments. Why are you investing your daughter's college tuition?
and then it's
Spent it all on the ponies, darling. Sorry.
it's like if she wanted to go to, like, I know it's a hot topic now, but like if she wanted to go to school, she could have gotten loans. Like I know it would have put her in a crippling debt because the system sucks.
Yeah.
But like
She just wanted to go to school for like engineering,
Architecture.
architecture.
She wanted to be an architect.
Yeah,
And-
there's schools for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
But she wanted to go to her mom's alma mater.
Yeah,
it was
well, at
too
some point you
important
gotta
to
suck
her.
it up and be
Oh,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to put
be
my
your own
dad
person.
in crippling
Exactly.
debt
And
or
also,
myself.
and
Like,
also like
go there for grad school.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's also not like it's not like Carnegie Mellon has like this like prestigious friggin' like
let's find out.
like
Keep going.
yeah, but like they're like oh like their football team's so good, like like what is
No,
besides, like-
literally, it's just because of her mom. I
Yeah.
don't think it was mentioned at all that they had like a good architecture program or anything.
Like, you
Because
don't-
even the scholarships that she was trying to go for were just generic like scholarship money
Yeah.
that you can apply anywhere.
it seems like a complete inverse of the trope of like I gotta go to dad's school because dad is dad wants me to go to Princeton, I gotta go to Princeton. Like the dad's like, please don't go to Carnegie Mellon. And she's like, I'm doing it, damn it.
Yeah, I think her mom had been dead for like 12 years. Like I think her mom died when she was like really little.
I also like I get granted it's also a high school kid, so like we can throw it out, but like Abby walking into her child bedroom having not seen her mom anywhere, then seeing a picture of like a 30-year-old or whatever she was like picture, and then no other pictures of her mom as an older woman, and then her immediately being like,
Oh yeah, because it was
oh,
the
your
mom's
mom must be
graduation
so
picture.
fun or something like that. Just like
God.
read the room, buddy.
It was the mom's like graduation picture.
Oh,
so
yeah,
she was
that too.
probably only like 20 something in that picture.
Yeah.
All right. So according to niche.com, Carnegie Mellon is the number 12 best college for architecture in America.
Okay.
But again, like it's just undergrad.
Where's Ohio
Go,
State on
go
that
wherever
list?
you want for undergrad,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much.
I told a lot of people while working for Bridgewater State that undergrad doesn't matter. Come to our cheap school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then I went to grad school at Bridgewater. What do I know? Go
I went there for
Bears.
grad school too.
Yeah.
So it all works out.
Third generation Bridgewater grad. Go Bears.
No results
Get 'em Bears.
found for Ohio on
Kick
this
'em
page.
Bears.
Get 'em Bears. I don't think they say that, but I think they should.
Bowl them over, Bears. This is great vamping.
When you leave, just bye-bye, Bears.
Bye-bye. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey.
Miami
We're
of
Bears.
Ohio has
We're Bears.
architecture program. University of Cincinnati has an architecture program. Kent State.
These all
Bowling
feel
Green.
much closer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just so many.
But are
options.
any of them got
She
that
just-
sweet in-state tuition? They're in-state, but are they?
Ugh.
The Ohio State University, the number 38
Oh, who wants to go
architecture
there?
program in America.
Boo.
Disgusting.
I'd
Pretty
rather
good, I gotta
die.
say. Pretty good.
37 rejection letters before I go there. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they're 38. University of Cincinnati is 49. So 2 top 50 architecture schools in America.
I
are
don't
in
like
Ohio.
chilly enough to go to Cincinnati. So.
Oh my god. We were talking about skyline ass, dumbass chili. Putting it on top of fucking spaghetti like basically living in the Appalachians.
The Reds are already bad enough. Don't kick them all the time.
Best player ever. No one likes. Won't let him into the building anymore. on that note. Any other thoughts on Mean Girls 2? What would you give it? We got to rate it.
Can you give a 0? I'm actually asking. Like on Letterboxd.
I think you can give a half.
A half, the lowest score possible. This movie sucked out loud. Like the fact
half of what?
Half. God, half.
And while we're thinking, Bree, did you have anything else you wanted to say about it? Because I know you had
I have so many things.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like a comparison to they try so hard to follow the formula of the first movie and they just fail in like every direction.
Dynamics are so wrong. They're like,
Yeah.
well, but the outsider should be super rich, right?
Yeah, I can even vibe with Abby like being super rich but still being unpopular because money doesn't like buy popularity, but they just do it in such an awful way.
I love everybody in the background that just is so willing, like just giant crowds of people just so willing to laugh at
realistic.
like somebody's shooting a car, like Porsche with paintballs. Like no dude just like stopped and was like, dude, that's really fucked up. That's like a $50,000 car.
Yeah,
Like-
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so like I think I was saying when we were finishing it, it's that Mean Girls 2 is unrealistic in like a not entertaining way.
Yeah.
Like Mean Girls is way more realistic, but like even if it's like a caricature for the most part, like there's some like the burn book stuff would not happen.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of believable that someone, because I've definitely had a situation in school where like someone did have like flyers of like that were just kind of like thrown around that were like of a similar mean vein, but like obviously nowhere near the fact of like everyone like starting a fight, because like they were trying to like to compare it to like animals fighting. And that's why they had the scene of Katie like trying to close her eyes and open and like seeing that it's still kind of like a bunch of animals fighting. But like Mean Girls 2 just wasn't realistic and it wasn't fun to watch. There was like Sam was saying, there was no jokes in it. Everything
Got
fell
two-thirds through that
flat.
movie and was like, oh, I forgot this was supposed to be a comedy because I have not laughed.
There
once.
was
Like,
the only scenes
there's
that
not
I
even
laughed
jokes?
in was Tim Meadows because he's funny.
Yeah,
like
Tim
he
Meadows
had
was
some
funny.
scenes that were funny. But like the main girl's insufferable. I can kind of believe it because like in high school, some girls have like the not like other girls attitude, which I definitely was. Like I was very similar, but she was just so insufferable to watch. She doesn't really get redeemed. Like she doesn't learn anything, honestly, besides don't
She
be
can
a
make
weird
mean
loner.
birdhouse.
Yeah. Apparently she now is gonna be a millionaire because
of birdhouses.
because of
Yeah, we
security.
forgot that she's there's like a nanny cam in a birdhouse that she sells.
That no one could have.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put surveillance equipment anywhere.
Yeah.
As we saw earlier in the movie, there is.
And it worked.
And it
so
worked.
you don't need to nanny cam it into a birdhouse.
Yeah.
A bird's just gonna want to live there, and you're gonna really piss that bird off.
Or you're gonna get to look at that bird real up close
It's
first.
gonna be a blue jay just screaming at it the whole time.
Well, it's a bad movie that I didn't like,
Yep.
and it was the third movie I watched last night. So I see how they run it as it got on. I was like, well, got a double header of these Mean Girls movies.
The one time, so like another thing, I'm not a violent person at all. I've been in 0 fights in my life. I was halfway through that movie. I'm like, eventually you just gotta start throwing hands with this girl. Like, eventually you just gotta throw a punch or get the police
I think
involved. Or
there's
something.
very early in the movie that it crosses such a line that they're actually going to her house to like sabotage her things.
Yep.
Which escalates into the engine thing, but and planting evidence of a felony in their house, but
One of the only scenes I actually enjoyed, that I can say that I enjoyed, was when you find out that the love interest and the main bad, like the Rachel McAdams character of this movie, are step siblings, and that's like the reveal. Like, oh, like he's not dating her, like he's just related to her, and he's not complicit necessarily.
Yeah.
And then she finds that out. It's like, oh, and then in her head she's like, oh, so he didn't even do that like on purpose. And then it's like, so that means that like her boyfriend did it, and then immediately like they're just throwing hands and then cut to the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at least someone is doing something about that.
Yeah. She like has a realization and turns around, and the two people are
They're
physically fighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a great cut. And the boyfriend, the shitty boyfriend, He has a 1-2 punch line. What are you gonna do? Hit your best friend after treating that kid like complete shit, and then hitting him with an all-time high school classic. I'm not scared of you.
Oh, I did want to bring up. So in the beginning of the movie, the main mean girl has a chihuahua. Throws the chihuahua away
in the garbage,
in the
and
garbage,
someone else walks
and,
off with it.
and
And
then
then
you
it's
never see the chihuahua
Check
again.
off Chihuahua. Never
Like
paid off.
never seen again.
Never paid. Oh yeah, you're totally right.
Absurd.
She throws the chihuahua in the trash.
Yeah, with the purse.
Someone else is like, "I'll take it." And then
Yeah,
you never see
the
chihuahua.
journalist girl, and then you never see it again. Absurd. Like, there's mean girls, but she threw away a dog that she brought to school.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh my god. The characters never get redeemed. She just goes to jail and
Yeah.
does
Well,
or
they
not go to
they
jail.
avoid
yeah.
jail.
They
time.
avoid jail, but she gets arrested. She doesn't learn anything. She just stops being popular because she lost her status or whatever.
Right? Yeah, it's a lot more vindictive. The denouement.
Chastity just stops making out with people. Like, I guess is like
Yes.
her only thing, but there's nothing in the movie to like make her stop doing that. The germaphobe is still a germaphobe because
They named her Chastity on purpose.
Yes, because they make a joke out of it, and it's like you can't make a joke out of it. You did that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, there's
Yes,
no
the
redemption.
germaphobe like tries a bubbler, but then gets sneezed on.
Yeah, then she gets like mono or something, I think.
gets-
Like she gets really
What's this?
sick.
She gets swine flu.
Swine flu, that's it.
Remember when she walked into Abby's house to pay the guy for sabotaging the pizzas?
Yeah,
With
just so
Epicac?
she could get seen.
So
at that.
why does she just have Epicac?
Why did she have Epicac? Why did she just pay that guy outside?
Yeah, no,
It's a
there's
stupid movie.
It's-
Because
there's
otherwise you would.
She
nothing
wouldn't have
makes
got line of
sense.
sight.
nothing makes sense in the movie. There was almost no payoff.
Also,
for
like
anything.
the pizza guy should get arrested.
Yeah. That's
You
was
can't
way too
do that.
complicit about that.
that's
He's
an
like,
actual
"Oh, man."
crime. You can't
That's-
like
he poisoned people.
yeah, you can't even in a situation where like let's say like someone is like taking your lunch and you put like something in it so they stop stealing it, you can still get arrested for that. Even if it's your own food that they shouldn't have been eating, you have
Yeah.
poisoned that food, quote
Right,
unquote.
right, exactly.
Like that is still a crime.
The moral of the story is like 10 people should have gotten arrested instead of 2.
Yes, and I also don't understand. Like, I know
Not even the worst person. Like the worst person got arrested, and then like the 5th worst person was the second one. arrested.
yeah. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
he
Oh,
the
because he
boyfriend
actually
took
put the thing
yeah.
in the thing.
Yeah, true.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, it's not a good movie, and I didn't like it.
No, there was nothing redeeming about this movie.
Yeah.
I cannot say a good thing about it.
0.5 butterfly back tattoos out of
Tramp
5.
stamp.
There it is.
As low as you can go. If you can do 0, I'll take 0. If you only can do 1, I'll take 1.
Yeah.
One of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
No, it's horrible.
The decision to build to a climactic football game when no one has exhibited any interest or ability in sports is
Yep.
one of the more bizarre screenwriting choices.
yeah.
I
It
think
should
of.
have been like go-karting. Like that might have
And-
made more sense.
and-
Like
and
because
the
she's a
amount-
racer.
The amount of people they just add. There was a point where they were like, and then they got friends, and then we got friends. There were just extras that were there with no backstory whatsoever. And there was at least like 3 people that
No,
they
and
like
then
kind of
yeah.
gave them a backstory a little bit.
And then it just ends. Yeah, right. The,
Yeah, they
the
like
3
introduced them
people.
earlier.
It was like, we all had sex last year, and we wish we had it.
Yeah.
So we're friends now.
Yeah, the characters are so
So
one-dimensional.
Yep.
I mostly hung on, but I did start hitting the 10 seconds forward button
Yep.
when it gets to the inevitable. Oh, the girl finds out that you were paid to be her friend, and it's like, okay, I know these beats. Come on,
Yep.
come
I was
on.
surprised how fast that was wrapped up too. That
I
was actually kind of refreshing how fast they were just like.
want to
Oh,
add
too long for
because-
me.
Yep.
I want to add because of that. I would 1,000% do that.
50K?
I'm sorry. I would take 50K and pretend to be someone's friend. In high school where things don't matter, 50K? Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have a moral compass. It's just being someone's friend. Like if
Yeah,
they found
They
out,
find out, just give them
whoops.
10K. Just
Or
be
maybe
like,
they wouldn't
Oh.
need it.
Well, yeah.
They wouldn't need it. But like, I'm taking that
You're
50K. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you jerk. I can't go to college if I don't do this.
Yeah.
And
Like
we're still
I'm,
friends.
But nope, you
Like,
can't say it. You can't.
like I
God
still like
forbid.
you as a person. Your dad
There's-
just wants to give me 50K.
There's no way I can get to Carnegie Mellon University without this.
If you just let me explain.
Number 12
I'm gonna
architecture school in America.
I'm gonna say, just let me explain 10 times, but not ever explain. and then you're going to be mad at me forever. That's how this is going to work out.
Yeah, I probably would say something and not like hide it. But
Yeah.
like I'd be like, because they were already kind of like vibing. So I'm like, hey, your dad just offered me this, and like I'm poor as shit. I can't afford it. I really need this. So like we're actually still friends, but I'm gonna accept your dad's $50K because he has more money than God.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that as seen on TV money
Yeah.
pouring in.
Billy Mays here.
Yeah, really ways here. Being creepily offering young women money. Anyway. Bad movie. You gave it a half of
0.5 butterfly back tattoos out of 5.
yeah. And do you want me to go 0 if that's
0
an
if it's
option?
possible.
Okay.
Definitely.
If 0 is an option, I do 0. No non-fat, no sugar raspberry frappuccinos.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Because for some reason they say frappuccinos and that's a Starbucks thing.
Mhm.
So
Ooh, canceled. I'm going to make it out of whatever comes up when I search Mean Girls 2 quote. I'm going to make it out of whatever comes up on Google when I search Mean Girls
I
2
hope it's
quote.
Carnegie Mellon.
All right, I'm giving it. Oh, nope. Didn't work.
There were no
this movie
quotes.
isn't quotable.
Didn't work. Wow, yeah. Was hoping I'd get gold out of that.
I'm going to give it
Turned into straw.
0.5 and or 0 Carnegie Mellon University acceptance letters.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Did you say 0.5 out of 0?
Or 0.
Oh, or 0 out of 0.
Out of 0.
That'd be pretty good. Out of 0.
50%.
God, this movie's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just thinks that I misspelled Mean Girls quotes, basically.
They're like, no one's ever asked us for that.
Really? Okay, yeah. 0, all my female hormones had kicked into overdrive out of 5.
This movie had such cringe dialogue. Like, people don't think these things. It was so, when she actually said, do I look like other girls? I wanted to scream.
Well, it was definitely written, I feel like, by a man. It was
Yes.
definitely written by someone who was born at age 45 and had never been to a public school in their life.
It was very Life is Strange dialogue adjacent, where like they definitely didn't know how to write teen girls.
There was a woman that was like one of the credited writers, and she also wrote Hidden Figures. So I was like, she must have had a lot of writing experience in that 10 years. 'Cause, yeah. Allison Schroeder.
What if Sheldon was racist? I can write it too, I guess.
Good. Congratulations. You're nominated for Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Movie's not that bad. That movie's pretty good, actually. I enjoyed that movie.
She also
It is
co-wrote
funny
Hidden
that
Figures, so
it
like,
is
it wasn't even
funny
like-
that Sheldon's racist.
Yep.
I guess that's the joke. Is if that's supposed to be comedy, right?
Yeah, that's comedy.
Anyway. Good performances in that movie, to be honest.
Unlike Mean Girls 2.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
only Octavia Spencer was in Mean Girls 2.
Imagine.
It's part of the Little Ma universe now.
There it is. That means we can finally end. We've kept it in the universe. What if Mean Girls 2, in addition to its Mean Girls plot and its 10 Things I Hate About You plot and its climactic sports movie plot, also had mine? That the Mean Girls were victimized by Ma.
That would make the movie so much better. It might redeem the movie.
Oh, what if Ma was the outsider and Ma's dad was paying her to hang out with Ma? And Ma finds out that she didn't actually want to hang out with her.
Is this Petite Mama or is it just
No, it's Octavia Spencer
it's
Ma.
full-size Ma?
It's full-size Ma. It's the sequel. It's the Petite
There's
Mama.
Ma, Petite Mama, and full-sized Ma.
Yeah,
Oh no,
it's,
I'm sorry. This is Mean Girls too.
it's the X trilogy. We start with the present one, then we do a prequel, and then we do a sequel.
Sequel. Okay.
Yeah.
makes
I hope
sense.
this stays in.
Yeah. How can it not? Oh man, wow.
It's a running Mawverse bit.
I think the most inside of inside jokes should only go at the end of an episode. So like, so if you're like, well, I'm done listening to this one.
You're welcome to Mike Voss for listening to this episode all the way through.
Yeah. If you're someone who doesn't understand any of that, then well, you can be like,
watch the Iron Man episode.
I feel like I got my fill out of this episode. I have no problem turning it off.
The Iron Man episode is so good.
All right, I'll sing the Mean Girls song. And
Mean Girls.
Oh, fuck. All right, get out, losers. We're done podcasting.
Boo, you whore.
Oh.
Yep. You go, Glen Coco. We got it.
We got it.